welcome into a historic Target Score post-game live. I'm Joey Slattery, just fresh off the call here on the historic game that was Teddy Allen's 54 points. I don't know how I can put this in better terms. It's never been done before. 50 points was long thought impossible in this league because of the Target Score time and the cap that you have. This was phenomenal. The whole story leading in was about Xavier Moon joining, and I apologize, I don't have my microphone with me, so I'm using the trusty wired earphones. But the story coming into this one was very clearly Xavier Moon making his debut, the long-awaited, and he had a great game too. We'll get to that in just a second. It was dominating the headlines. It was long-awaited to see Xavier Moon get into the game, and then better make sure this is turned off. And then the game started. Things were going just as normal, and then Teddy in the second half decided he was going to have a game to remember, and it was phenomenal. We had special guest here too, Joe from Leicester, England. So Teddy, you might remember, played in the BBL, the British Basketball League at the time, for the Leicester Riders, and made this connection with his family. The family was here to witness it. Just a completely special game. Nothing I was anticipating. I think the biggest thing is the answers that came through this game. The big question everybody was asking about was Tyler. Tyler's literally right beside me, and he's in the comments. I love the dedication. I love it. But the whole story, or the whole question leading up to this game and to this whole, Moon, Teddy Allen combo, how do they coexist? Who's going to get the ball? They're both ball-heavy people. They're both scorers. Well, I think we got our answer tonight. I don't think it's much of an issue. This was a game where Xavier Moon still had 17 points and a ton of assists. I think he had 14 assists on the game, 17 points. A phenomenal game. The 14 assists alone are incredible. And it was just overshadowed, and I don't think anybody's upset about it, including Xavier Moon. They shared a nice moment at the end of the game where they were no idea what was said, but they shared a moment at center court. And it looks like this is a duo that the team, or the league rather, has to have locked in. I mean, this is wild. They just jumped on everybody's radar as the top duo in the CBL. It's hard to make the argument now that Teddy Allen is not the front runner for the MVP. The MVP chants were deafening. And I'll say this, we don't get a lot of MVP chants at Canada Life Center. We've heard it before for Teddy in his MVP season. We hadn't heard it this season until today. And with everything that's going on, I know it's a two-horse race really between him and Miles Powell and Scarborough, but the complete player that he's been, his numbers are skyrocketing compared to that MVP year he had in 2023. Oh, yeah, Jelani Watson-Gale made his return to Winnipeg, too, somewhere in there. It's just a crazy storyline day, and I don't think anybody was expecting 54 points from Teddy Allen. There's never been 50 scored. Never in the history of this league has a player had 50 points. He hit that at the beginning of Target Score time, and then he added 4 more for good measure. Absolutely phenomenal. Give me a second here. I need to take a drink of water. Thought I was going to lose my voice. It just, record was set after record. And in that time, Teddy Allen became the all-time leading scorer for the CBL. This is going to go down as one of the most historic nights in the CBL. Definitely the most historic night in Winnipeg Seabears franchise history. It's up there for me with the first game. Right, the emotions were there. 6,000 people were on hand for this one, and which is crazy because if you're not from Winnipeg, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were playing today. So big Blue Bomber contingent. It's a staple here in Winnipeg. It was the FIFA World Cup final, and it was 6,000 people still showing up, of course, for Moon's debut, but they got an extra treat in Teddy Allen's 54. The single season record for Teddy Allen with the 54 points by a long shot, or single season record all time for the season, but single game record as well. Sorry, by a long shot. I think before that it was 47, right? Stat guy Ty, 45. So you beat it by 9. Stat guy Ty's beside me here. Come say hi, Stat guy Ty. Just a quick hello. Hello. Stat guy Ty, keep me updated. 45 was the record for 7 seasons and change. We're more than halfway through this 8th season. And 54 points, 9 points, setting that record. Absolutely phenomenal. Just going to take a look here at some of the key stats. Montreal was here too. Probably should mention that. Tough go for Montreal. I feel for the Alliance a little bit. Came into a red-hot Teddy Allen, a a jacked up crowd for Xavier Moon. A game where the team was just clicking and Teddy Allen couldn't miss. And they were coming off a heartbreaking loss in Vancouver. They lost by 1 point. They blew a 22-point lead in Vancouver just 2 nights ago. And then they had a 10-point lead going into target time, and they still ended up losing by 1 point. They were led by Keyshawn Bartholomew, had 14 points. Trent Johnson had a great game, 22 points for him. He was 4 for 9 from beyond the arc, 9 for 16 total. He had 7 rebounds as well, 2 assists, a couple of steals. Trent Johnson was the guy that showed up for Montreal. He was really the only guy carrying any significant load. I keep messing up this name. Chukwuenyo, Blondo Chukwuenyo had 17 points. He was the player to watch. He didn't play terribly. He was 6 for 10 from the field. He had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, but 7 turnovers alone, 22 turnovers total for Montreal. Winnipeg had 8 turnovers, and 6 of those came in the second half. They had no turnovers after the first quarter, just clean basketball. They had 28 assists in this game, so that ratio is nuts. They had 20 more assists than they had turnovers in this game. They had 16 steals as a team. Xavier Moon had 4. Teddy Allen had 4. Again, have to check on the updated stats, but Teddy Allen was in second place in steals. He's been flirting with first. He'd been in first for a little while, and he had a burst on that one tonight. 10 rebounds, a double-double for Teddy Allen, if that matters, because that 54 points in 32 minutes is just incredible. I don't think I've heard the crowd, and let's be honest, this crowd gets a well-deserved reputation for being loud, particularly in target time. I don't know if I've ever heard it that loud at the beginning at target time. I didn't have a chance to go into the post-game interviews, but Teddy Allen had his walk-off interview with Tegan Rosh, our sideline reporter, and he ended it by saying, "Got my swagger back." That is putting it lightly, because the biggest question for Teddy Allen coming into this one was the fact that he scored less than 20 points for 2 points in a row. He did it against Saskatchewan. It wasn't a big deal. They won the game, but it was the first time, right? So there's a little bit of a highlight there. And then when it's 2 games in a row, people start getting worried. Is Teddy Buckets losing his touch? Is he in a slump? Well, he answered that question in the biggest way. He more than made up for it. He's got 20 points in both halves, just for good measure. And 34 was it 34 in the second half that he had? I think he had, 34 points in the second half. Going into target time, I was queuing it up as such, saying, is he going to hit 50? And you almost worry that you're going to jinx it. If you're probably familiar, if you watch a lot of sports, as I'm sure many of you do, when you say something like that, you're always kind of worried about the broadcaster's jinx. And to be fair, Teddy Allen in the past in target scores tends to be the time he doesn't need to score, right? He's handing the ball off, but he got that 50 right away. You could tell that he wanted to get it. The team wanted him to get it. I think the biggest thing that we learned in this game is Xavier Moon takes a ton of pressure off Teddy Allen. This is what the team was saying, what the team was hoping. We saw it in real time today. Xavier Moon still had 17 points, and he still had 14 rebounds, or assists rather. Like, that would be the talk of the game if it weren't for the 54 points from Teddy Allen. We got our boy, Vic Selby, joining here. Vic is with Winnipeg Sports Weekly. Vic, you were in the post-game interviews. What did you take away from there?
Man, Joey, vibes are high. Obviously it's kind of what you would expect, but like the very first thing Teddy Allen said when he walked up to the podium was, I just want you guys to know for the rest of this media availability, my name is Deadpool. And Xavier Moon is now Wolverine. And that was how we addressed them for the rest of the media availability there. The vibes are incredibly high. That's the number one thing I just got to say. Just everybody is so positive. Really, out of all of the media availabilities this season, I don't think that there's one that had better vibes than this.
Well, I'll tell you, Vic, I was at the pregame shoot, and the vibes were high then. And I can tell there was a level of pressure relieved just from Xavier Moon being here. And then, I said it during our pregame show. I'm like, I don't think it's going to have any negative connotation to the game or have any negative effect. But you're still kind of curious. Like, are they too late? Are they too comfortable? Like, what if Moon takes a while to get going? But he didn't. Like, he got a scoring touch early. He got his first couple of field goals in the first quarter. He was setting guys up left, right, and center. He took a ton of pressure off Teddy Allen. And let's not bury the lead here. I've been talking about it this whole time until you came on, but 54 points. It's never been done in the CBL. 50 points has never been done. Teddy ends up with 54. And you can tell even Isaiah Osborne, who didn't have a field goal till he hit the target score winner, and I think he's got 4 now on the year. So he's kind of taken over that closer role. And I was happy to see him get on the board. But, from my vantage point of the scores table, there's one point where he has it at the far wing from me. And he's just locking eyes with Teddy. And he's like directing, like, just get further out, go to half. I'm going to get you the ball. Like, let's get you that 56 or 57 points. To be fair, he could have got another 3-pointer in there. It could have, like, hypothetically speaking, he could have had 57. He could have been flirting with 60. I don't want to, 54 is great. 60, may never happen. And who knows if it is going to happen. It could be Teddy Allen. I wouldn't say expect this every game, but I think this first sample of Teddy Allen playing with Xavier Moon has answered a lot of questions and maybe relieved a lot of spirits here for people that were worried about it.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think that it could have been a really more positive debut for Xavier Moon. Just the way he was incorporated with everybody, and he and Teddy both spoke about it post game, just how much easier it was for Teddy to get the ball. Teddy said he had easier looks that he's had all season. And you could just see it, like the amount of attention that Xavier Moon draws. It's that gravity, and he made it easier for everybody. Of course, Teddy was the biggest beneficiary tonight, but there was just a lot of open looks generated for other guys, even on plays where Moon didn't necessarily touch the ball so much. I think really tonight looked like the best case scenario of what this can be.
Yeah, we'll get to the highlights here in just a little bit. I just got some. I got the extra stats because I got Stat Guy Ty beside me here, feeding us the extras. But the starters combined, just the starters, they were plus 40, which isn't crazy. 180 is the final score. 19 rebounds, 12 steals between Emmanuel Aycott, Teddy Allen, Xavier Moon, Isaiah Osborne, and Jeremiah Tillman Jr. They only had 4 turnovers and 18 assists.
And forced 22 turnovers on the other end.
67 points total between just those 5. And Isaiah Osborne had 2 or 3. Was it a 3-pointer at the end? I can't remember now.
No,
it was a 2-pointer. It was a midi. Yeah, no. So 2 points of those are Isaiah Osborne's. And yeah, they're 67 points total. This is wild. 67 points total. And Teddy had 54 of them. The rest had to combine for 13 points.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Like, dude, this is crazy. I'm still buzzing. Like, that was the coolest game I've ever called. I was not expecting it. I was so prepared for the Xavier Moon debut and whether it was the highs or the lows with it. And then Teddy starts rolling. And at first it was the 20, right? He hit the 20 in the first half. And we're like, okay, cool. 20 points. Now he's got that off. Doesn't have that streak continuing, right? Then he hits 30. So, okay, now he's back to Teddy. It's 30. Then he hits 40. We're like, okay, man, a 40 banger from Teddy, another one. And then he starts creeping up. And then it's like 45, 46, 47. And then he's at 48 at target score time. And I said before you came on, I was like, man, like the watch for 50 is on. And then I'm worried I might have jinxed it. It's kind of the broadcaster's jinx, but I have to bring it up. And then right off the top, he hits the 3. So he goes from 48 to 51, adds another 3 in target time. Just wild, man.
Yeah. Oh, and on top of the single game scoring record, obviously he also broke the franchise and league record for points in a season and was one off of tying the single game threes in a game record.
It was 1-3 off from that?
1-3, 10. It appears to be, anyways, just from the stat sheet here. Yeah, 10 seems to be the record for 3-pointers made in a game. And yeah, you know what? It was unbelievable. I had several people in the stands tonight, just family who had never been or hadn't been to a Seabears game since year 1, I think. And I'd been telling them a little bit about the Xavier Moon situation, waiting for him, all that stuff, and how good he was. And early on, one of them said to me, "Is Teddy Allen the guy who wasn't playing? Like, is that the dude we were waiting for who was really good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I understand why you'd think that." But it was unbelievable. Like 21 of 29. Like, could you believe he only took 29 shots and he made 21 of them? Like, absolutely unbelievable.
Well, Joe Hand is his name. So Teddy played in Leicester for the Riders a couple of seasons ago, and he stayed with his family. They've stayed really close. They flew in from England for this game. Wow. They're going to be at the next 2 as well. Sweet. But imagine coming all that way to see one player play And in that first game of the 3, he sets a franchise record, a CBL record, and the all-time scoring record. Like, could there be a better game to come to? I was so happy for those guys because, you just never know. I don't even think they care. They just want to see him play. It's their favorite player, a guy they know really well. But yeah, and so the record coming into this for single season was set last year by Sean East II, was 546.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did Teddy get 547, he's at 589 is what he's at. And we still have 4 games to go, Vic. Like, this might be an untouchable record. I don't know. Like, we've never been close. It was 40. What was the single game 45 before this, set by Jalen Harris?
Yep.
Who's played with Winnipeg. He beat it by 9. So, like, I'm not sure, unless there's, like, an expansion in the season. But even then, like, I don't think that matters. Like, for the single season, maybe. But from a single game perspective, under target score, for a guy to get 50 to happen again would be something. To break 54, to get 55 points or more in this league would be wild. I think this record might stand for quite a while. And the only person I'm banking on breaking it is Teddy Buckets Allen.
Yeah, 100%, especially if he's going to be getting looks like he got for a lot of today. I already said it, but it really did look like the best case scenario for what this team can be. It was unbelievable. One really interesting note that I noticed was that arguably the Sea Bears' most top heavy game as far as minutes and just going to the starters. Like, just looking through here, like, just going off the bench, Jelani Watson-Gale 12, Mason Krause 8, Balamu 3, Kyler 1, DJ Burns 10. Like, it was a very top heavy thing, and that wasn't something that I necessarily expected with just the amount of depth this team has. Like, I think obviously it makes sense. You already said it. The starters were unbelievable tonight, but I definitely thought that was something I wasn't really expecting. Definitely an interesting note.
Well, the other thing too, like, not to be overshadowed, but kind of overshadowed, was Xavier Moon. He played phenomenal. Like, if there's not a 54 points, we're talking about this guy comes in, this, like, elite point guard, and he gets 14 assists, 17 points in his debut. I don't think he's mad about it. He had 4 steals as well.
No.
Xavier Moon had a phenomenal start, in my opinion. It's just, we're not going to be talking about that, obviously. But what did you think of his debut?
Yeah, he was fantastic. You could just see the playmaking, the commanding the show on offense, some of the passes that he made, like even the ones that were as Phoebes and Chris, two of the great Sea Bears photographers, walk past here. But yeah, you could just see how much easier he was making it for everybody. Some of those, even some of the simple passes, like he had a few pocket passes to Jeremiah Tillman off the pick and roll that were just like, oh, beautiful basketball. You could just see, and just talking about it after the game, they asked him, like, about feeling a little bit overshadowed maybe or anything like that by just how excellent Teddy was, not taking as many shots. And he just said, no, like, my job is to facilitate. My job is to get people involved. And I really got to say, post game, I don't know that I've seen two guys who are more friendly and excited. And like, it seemed like Teddy and Xavier Moon are best friends for 10 years. That's what the vibe was like post game between the two of them. Like, they were, if there was anybody who had any sort of concern, and we talked about it in the pregame about kind of what these two guys would look like together, and how would they feel? How would Teddy feel about maybe potentially having a little bit less of the ball? Maybe. I would throw those concerns aside right away. Even if they had played a so-so game, just from what I saw in that post game, those guys are so excited.
I lost my sheet there, but I just want to point out, like, to focus on Montreal a little bit, like, they were a little depleted with some key players, though. I mean, you got to remember Quincy Guerrier, who is maybe the top Canadian in the league, not there. Guillaume Boucard was not in the lineup either. Nate Chimanga, like, these are key dudes, Canadian dudes. Like, they were playing on fumes a little bit. They have some new players that are still getting adjusted. Not to say you feel bad for Vancouver, but on the same token, you're like, these guys flew out to Vancouver, had a 22-point lead on Friday night that dwindled down to 10 at target score time, and then they gave up that lead and lost by 1. I think it was 92-91 was the final score in that one. And they came in here a little pissed off, a little frustrated. And I was talking to Jermaine Small. I wasn't making excuses, but he's like, the travel is tough. And he's like, I know the Western teams have it, as hard, harder. He's like, they're flying everywhere, where we have to bus it a lot in Montreal. But he's like, we're not used to this. And I think it showed a little bit. You had that disappointment from that such a tight loss. but they just couldn't get anything going. Like even at target score time, they started coming to the line, but you're down 33 points or whatever it was at the time, like way too little too late. But to Winnipeg's credit, I mean, they were causing all sorts of problems. 22 turnovers they forced. I said the steals at the top of the where's my stats here? Yeah,
16 steals. Yeah,
16 steals total between everybody on the team. I mean, they just made it hell for Montreal here. They can't get on that flight fast enough and back to Montreal. They got a big game. They got to race this. They got a big game against Ottawa now, and now they're a game and a half back from second place. So Ottawa's just coming off that huge emotional win in Scarborough. But aside from Trent Johnson, who played phenomenal, had a great game from 22 points total. I think he had 7 rebounds. They just couldn't get anything going. Credit to Winnipeg, but what I'm trying to do here is pump the brakes a little bit, because I think right now in the excitement of everything, you talk about how happy they are and friendly they are after this game. The big thing now is don't expect 54 points a game from Teddy. Yeah. It's a record for a reason, right? I think he's going to get his scoring. You might expect a few more 30-point games. He had, it was a 6th 40-point game tonight. Stat guy Ty, appreciate it. 6 40-point game tonight. And we might see another one. I wouldn't be shocked to see another 40-point banger. But that all said, Vic, you got to put this behind you, celebrate. And the nice thing is they got a few days here. I'm sure Teddy's going to have a fun night. He's got, I don't know if you were on when I said this, but they had Joe Hand, his former England family member, as he calls him, up from England for the most historic game you could ever ask for. So, he's got some, some friends up from overseas. Teammates are sky high. Another big win at home after that disappointing home loss to Calgary just a few days ago, 3 games ago. Things are good, but they got to, after tonight, maybe get a day off tomorrow. Come Tuesday, you got to refocus, because you got a massive game against Vancouver at home. Again, we don't know what Vancouver's going to look like. We saw the tease of Tajay Moore saying he's coming to Vancouver on Wednesday. Now, that'd be weird, because I don't think he'd be on the road if he even were to play. Now, this isn't confirming he's playing. This is the speculation of it. Why is he coming to Vancouver? If he did, he wouldn't qualify, because there's not enough games left for Vancouver. But imagine he did come here. It'd be they might take him in, just say like, hey, we need a jolt offensively, and maybe we can get him in there. But it's either way. They don't have a full roster in Vancouver. They've had their lumps, but they are coming for redemption in that game.
Yeah, 100%. It's not going to be easy going forward. No question about it. I think the Sea Bears they're just a team that's going to take things day by day. Talking to Mike Rainbow after this game, asking him just a little bit about kind of how do you bounce back from that bit of a disappointing, very disappointing road loss on the road there, and just kind of how do you feel about how do you speak to your team after that? How do you approach things? And he really just started to talk about how they take things so day by day. They try to not dwell on the past. They move on. And I think it'll be no different here. I'm sure tomorrow, I'm sure there'll be some talking a little bit about, here's some stuff that went really well. Here's what we can improve on. But I don't think that they're going to let this get to their heads for sure.
No, it's and that's the thing is things have been rolling at home. I think it was a pretty big awakening on 2 fronts. The fact that you had the home loss to Calgary and followed it up with a road loss to Calgary with a win in between there. But I think they're going to take it a little more seriously. But at the end of the day, not that they shouldn't say that, not take it seriously. That's a wrong choice of words. But the sense of urgency will be there a little bit. And I think the other thing too is you can kind of treat this as a playoff game, because it very well might be the Western Conference final preview. Yeah. And if you win this game, you win. Did they win the game in Vancouver, Ty? Now I can't remember. He's going to check for me. You got Stat Guy Ty here.
We didn't.
Yeah, so it's 1-1, right? So to win this game would be huge, because they have that last game of the year. If they win this game, the best Vancouver could do would be tie it. And if they tie it, unless they blow them out by like 40 points, they should have the tiebreaker over Vancouver. So this game's really big. Get it out of the way, then you just don't have to worry about it. The tiebreakers, all this other stuff. Just get that win on Thursday, and then get through the rest of the season and just maintain that top spot, because we've talked about it again and again. This is a team that, when it comes to home court advantage, I don't think it matters more than for the Winnipeg Sea Bears in this entire league. And I know that sounds like hyperbole, but I don't think it is.
100%. And Teddy spoke to it as well, just asking him about the home versus road performance. He said, just our home court advantage is just the best in the league. It's unparalleled. And he was really speaking to how, he kind of implied that, it's almost like the air's let out of you a little bit on the road. Didn't specifically say that, but just kind of like in contrast to having the home crowd. just said it's such just a huge advantage for them. And yeah, I do think ultimately that's probably going to be the defining thing of these next few games is can they figure that out going into the playoffs? Is that something that's going to hold them back? Because at least as it stands right now, it looks like if they were to get to the finals and if it is against Scarborough, you're almost certainly going to be the road team for 2 of those games. And I think that they're going to need to be ready for it more than anything. And even if you start off hot, you win that first one in Winnipeg. Obviously, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. It's yeah, like that's definitely going to be something that they need to figure out going forward.
Getting ahead of ourselves, but I mean, the playoffs are clinched, right? And the thing is, too, is Scarborough's out of your control. Scarborough lost a very, very emotional game to Ottawa at home. They've lost at home, which I think is, from a Seabear standpoint, not that you need that kind of, reassurance, but they're beatable is what I'm getting at. And you have to remember, Winnipeg played them at the start of the season and lost by a possession. Right. So it's not like they're in there not knowing what to expect. And I think where the advantage comes again to the home side of things, Scarborough is not playing here this year because of the schedule. Like this is their off year. So they are not here. So then they got to come into this, which could be a double-edged sword, right? Like I don't know which way it leans. Are they going to come in ultra motivated because you're going to have a playoff atmosphere in here? Like we had 6,000 fans here tonight, Vic, on a night where the Blue Bombers are playing and the FIFA World Cup was bleeding in because it was extra time into this game. And we still had 6,000 people show up. With the way this team is playing and with the ties that they have, the nostalgic ties to that first year, I would not be shocked if we see 10,000 people or more here on that playoff game. Now, if it's the finals, we might get, again, and I would love to see it. If we get 10 to 15,000, we had almost 12,000, I think is the record in this building. If we got to 15,000 and sold this place out, it would be an awesome atmosphere. Now, does it rattle Scarborough? And we've seen Scarborough doesn't have a lot of emotions, or does that amp them up? Because if they win the game here, then I'm a little bit more nervous about going to Scarborough. If that is, again, this is all hypothetical. Yeah. We've seen Scarborough lose to Ottawa. We've seen Scarborough lose to Niagara. Like, this is not a sure thing. They don't have a lot of losses, but they have a lot of gritty losses where it's not that they were playing terrible. It's that the other teams now have tape on them. They've played them a couple times. I think they're a little more prepared for them. So you can't write the book on both sides because it's the same thing for Winnipeg. Winnipeg's not won a playoff game. We can't forget that, right? Yeah. There's a lot of pressure, whether it's like the same players, different players, whatever. This is a team that still needs to get over that playoff hump before we start talking finals. But on a night like tonight, I think they put the whole league on notice that this whole Moon era with Teddy Allen might be an era we talk about. We'll talk about this game for eons. This is going down in Winnipeg sports lore. And I think you should be the one to, here's your chance to give us a little essay, Vic. As Winnipeg Sports Weekly covering the entire sports scene, I mean, what does this mean for Winnipeg sports on a night like tonight?
Yeah, and it started from when we woke up in the morning. It just felt like a special day in Winnipeg. Xavier Moon making his debut, all of that, just that alone, even if it was just a routine win, small thing, it would have been unbelievable. But just the way that went down, Teddy breaking the record, the crowd atmosphere is phenomenal. It really, really feels like, at least in the time that I've been doing Winnipeg Sports Weekly, this was as special a night in Winnipeg sports as there has been, for sure.
Yeah, and love everybody coming on. It's hard. I can't really see the stats of people watching. There's a ton of people watching on Instagram. I think there's some messages in there, but I can't see them. So if you're watching on Instagram, come over to YouTube if you want to get your comments in. It'll be easier for us to read them. But this has been it's definitely, from a play-by-play standpoint, this is the funnest game I've called. From being on the Cedars broadcast, I think it is a one. I need time to really sit and think about this, but that first game in the first ever game where Chad Posthumous, scores that game winner, and I always look up at his banner up there in the South Pole. That was a very, very special game that really got everything off to a flying start for the Sea Bears tenure here in Winnipeg. But this one, I mean, I've never seen the fans this amped up and this fired up at the beginning of target score time. It usually kind of builds up as we go, especially when the team was up 33 at the time. It was just from start to finish. It was just all Sea Bears.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just, doing Winnipeg Sports Weekly over these last few years, it just, you learn to start thinking about games, watching games kind of like as a media guy. You see things and you look at like, oh, okay, that's a really good clip. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, I'll ask somebody that later. Things like that. And then there's these games or these moments where you just become a fan again. And today I spent this whole game feeling like a kid in the stands. I really did. The number of times I was looking over or just texting people and just saying, man, Xavier Brutus, he's so good. And it just watch it. It was just, this is what it's all about. Like there was really a time just being at the media table for target score time, watching that crowd roar up on their feet. It just, I was just really thinking like, this is why we do this. Like, this is what it's all about. What an incredibly special city. There's just nowhere else like it. The best sports city in Canada, and I think it was on full display tonight. Just an absolutely special night.
Totally. I mean, not to dampen this whole thing, but I keep wanting to remind people that this Montreal team was not the full Montreal team. There were some key guys missing, but you can't take it away. Like, this is a game where sometimes those are trap games too, right? Where you might get a little too comfortable, but it was not. Jermaine Small, I talked about in the broadcast, but got to be tough for Jermaine Small, because here's a guy that coached Xavier Moon in Edmonton, won 2 championships with him, saw him win 3 MVPs, and got a full load of them here tonight. And what was an absolutely incredible game, Dylan. It was an absolutely, incredible game. But again, this is a huge. It's my buddy Blaine tuning in from Ontario. Thanks, Blaine. Appreciate it. My beard fade is on point. But yeah, no, this was a game here where it's like, it was a great game. Adrenaline was really high. There was a ton coming in for this team in terms of energy to replicate this. This isn't going to be the standard in terms of 54 points a game for Teddy Allen, but it is. It eliminated all the doubt, and I think that's the biggest thing for me with this one. That all the I don't want to say doubters. There wasn't doubters, but people were questioning, because we've heard this before, Vic. We've heard Justin Wright Foreman's coming in and they're going to coexist. And that lasted like a game before, everything hit the fan. And then you talk about the redemption side of this story for Teddy Allen, like this whole season, right? He knows what's on the line after what happened this first tenure and getting released in 2024 for, the behavioral issues, as the team called it. The team took a chance to bring him back. He took a bigger chance to come back. I will say this about Teddy. It's a bigger chance for him coming back, because if this does not work out, it would be a huge stain on the reputation for a guy that, is NBA ready, like at least for that 10-day. It's got to be coming up. But, or if he goes overseas, he's going to be making crazy amounts of money. But he's made the most of this year. He's a more complete player. And we saw it all tonight, man. He had 4 steals on top of that, too. 4 steals, the 54 points. I can't stress that enough. Like, you don't see it often in any league, and I know we see it more in the NBA and everything else, but the NBA doesn't have target score time. Yeah. Right? Where he's capped at one point. Like, he had that many points before. Yeah, and he had that much with 4 minutes left. Can you imagine with 4 minutes of basketball and the heater that he was on? Like, he could have had 60-something points. Like, this could have been something crazy. And I love target score time, but target score time got in the way of Teddy Allen tonight.
Yeah, no, and I guess it did for sure. But oh man, it was just I think target score it added such a fun element. Like, for me, today was just a perfect example of why target score is so awesome still as well. Like, so because I do agree with you, he probably would have scored more points without it. But like you said earlier, like, just the crowd as soon as target time hit, it was unbelievable. Just at the media table, hearing the people yelling at Teddy Allen behind me, yelling at Montreal. There was a time where I think one of his corner 3 in target time, the fan yelled, "You can't do that! You can't do that!" Right behind me. Just made me laugh. But yeah, no, it was excellent. I'm curious, like, kind of what did you think about Trey McGowan's being the odd man out today? Because I asked Coach Mike about kind of what that conversation is like for a guy who obviously has just been unbelievable for them. We've talked about it on all of our shows here. He's been great. Yeah. He started, I think he started every game that he's played for the Sea Bears this year. And then obviously it was the odd man out today. But Mike Rainbow just said he really just emphasized just what a professional he is. Said that conversation was, he totally understood kind of how it is. Didn't give too much away about kind of what the plans are going forward with that. But I thought it was really interesting that, it was Trey out, and probably not entirely unsurprising just because of the playoff limits. But kind of what was your thoughts on that?
So it's funny because, like, I've just been so, like, with Xavier Moon out, we've not had to worry about the import rule, right? So for those that aren't aware, the way it works in the CBL, is you can have 6 imports, so anybody not from Canada on your team, but you can only have 5 on the active roster, right? So there is the odd man out, and I don't think it was a hard decision. I know this sounds weird, and it's not a hot take. Trey McGowan's a few games ago missed a game with an injury, right? That wasn't terrible. I think he probably would have played if it were, more on the line, but he can use a little bit of rest, right? Giving him a game off. You need to get Jelani Watson-Gale, who, didn't get into the groove yet. He's still really trying to find his groove, get his rhythm. The guy is coming from Great Britain, dude. And I talked to him before the game, and that's the one thing he was saying was, the sleep has been hard for him, getting used to the time adjustment, and especially going from time zone to time zone, right? They were in Saskatoon and Calgary. So he was 7 hours difference. Now he's 6 hours difference here from what he's used to at home. So there's a bigger thing here for him. So I think for looking at the roster they put out, you have to reward DJ Burns. And DJ Burns' role has just went from here's a guy who might get cut to, and I say cut only because of the import rule, like when we were still trying to figure out and Trey Scott was still here. The gift to DJ Burns was Trey Scott signing in Germany and opening up that spot now because he's been released on good terms. But DJ Burns' role has amplified like crazy. So, Trey McGowan's is going to get back in the lineup. But what's happening right now is you've got 4 games now, but with this game was 5 games before playoffs where you've already clinched. You're back at home. You want to get Jelani in because also the fans want to see Jelani Watson-Gale. If you're a new fan, Jelani Watson-Gale was the closer. He was what Isaiah Osborne has kind of served this year, but with like way more excitement around it because it was that first year and there was so much magic in that first year, right? So they wanted to get him in, give him that time. You might see though between him and Jelani, like where you might see some back and forth with how they're going to handle that import spot. It is tough. That is the hardest part about this league, but you want to use up all your import spots. And they've got a lot of great imports. Like, Jelani Watson-Gale, just taking a look at his stats here tonight. Where is he? 1 for 6 from the field. He only had 2 points, 3 assists. Like he was relatively quiet in this game, but that's going to take some time. So Trey McGowan's gets a little bit of extra rest. He's going to play again. He's been a phenomenal player on this team. The other thing too, Vic, with Trey McGowan's is his versatility. He's not a point guard. Like he can play point guard, but he can play the 2 if you need him to. You can probably slide him over to the 3. In those last couple of games, we've seen his explosiveness, right? That sneaky explosiveness where he can go in, drive down the lane, and throw down a power dunk. So, Trey McGowan's, I give him credit because he is a pro. We've got to know him a little bit this year. Does not surprise me that he handled it with grace. I don't think there's anything to read into it. There's just going to be some tough decisions for Mike Rainbow down the road here as we go into the last 4 games of the season, and it's going to be even harder in playoffs, and I think it's very much going to be matchup based.
For sure. Yeah. And I think depending on who you're playing, exactly what you said. I think for a guy like DJ Burns, like it's just the size alone, you need him in some of these games. Like just he and Jeremiah Tillman are kind of the only non-guard imports on this team. And so like it's one of those ones where like how do you get him off the floor? He played 11 minutes today, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it was only 11 minutes. It felt like he was out there the whole time doing things. Just making things happen, firing up the crowd. He's becoming a fan favorite. Just the energy he brings on the court. He's been great. Jelani Watson-Gale, like on paper maybe didn't have the best game, but you know what? I thought, he was 1 of 6. I thought the 5 he missed were 5 good shots. Like he wasn't forcing things. He was playing within the flow, and I think it just really speaks to him as a pro, how his approach has been ever since he's shown up here, where there hasn't been that like, okay, let me get a hang of this. Give me the ball. Like, let me shoot this here. There hasn't been any of that. It's just he's trying to fit himself into the offense, see how things work. 4 fouls to boot. Who was that?
That's stat guy
DJ,
Ty. Yeah, talking about DJ Burns. That guy coming in the clutch. Yeah. Well, and the other thing to that, I was going to kind of bring it in a little later, but that's the other thing is Tillman Jr. got an unfortunate technical. Like I don't disagree with the call. He wasn't throwing the ball. I was just like trying to get it out. He threw it too far, and it was a delay of game. Like it is what it is. So he got the tee, and he was a little fired up about it. But he came down. I think people got a little nervous because a few games ago he got kicked out with back-to-back tees. But that's nothing I don't think to worry about. And the nice thing about Tillman is he only had I think, the 3 fouls all game. He played most of that game without any concern. So that's another thing. If this is the Xavier Moon effect, you've got Tillman Jr. in great spots. He had some great finishes at the rim today. He was able to stay in the game. Again, Montreal struggled down low. They only had Prince Odro that was really fighting. Like, his stats didn't pop, but man, that guy fought. Like, I have a lot of respect for Prince Odro. And it was up against a much bigger team. Like, even the guards were a lot bigger for the Sea Bears here. So, but yeah, no, DJ Burns is the other thing. You bring up a great point, Vic. The intangible part of DJ Burns. We even saw it when he was only getting like 2 to 4 minutes a game, right? Like, there was a time, like up until like before 3 games ago, where this guy barely saw the floor. But when he was on, he made a big play, whether it was defensive or a big basket. And he doesn't matter if it's 2 points or if he gets 54, you're going to get the same excitement from him. He's like the Alex Ovechkin of the Sea Bears. Like, he's just fired up all the time. Every basket's a celebration. Fans love it. Team loves it. You know, I love to see it. He brings a whole new energy to this team. It's like he's an intangible guy, and I think he's bought himself into. I would be shocked unless he's like an awful game coming up where he's taken off on the downfall of the import carousel, because he has just been so phenomenal, especially without Trey Scott. I just want to bring this one back up here. Smirkio, my guy, says, I saw Trey Mack walking outside Canada Life Center with a whole box of pizza. Bro was actually about to give me a slice too. Didn't play and generous. I love it. Yep. Trey McGowan's doesn't seem to be bothered by this. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think the only downfall of this, for those that don't know, Teddy Allen and Trey McGowan's played together at Nebraska, right? They were teammates. That's why they've got that little bit of chemistry. Like, they've got a background, they've got a relationship. So I'm sure he would have loved to have been part of that game for that reason, but he got a front row seat to seeing one of his longtime teammates, a guy he's seen a lot of success with, set 2, almost 3 records tonight. Didn't see it coming. You know, I saw the single season one coming because he was 11 points out or whatever it was coming in, but no one could foresee the 54 points. That was just nuts.
Yeah, it's special. Like, to smash the record the way he did, especially with how close he's come to doing it. Like, already a couple of times this season at home, where it's like, okay, he's got 40 some odd points around target time. Like, is it going to happen? And what's typically been happening was that they just kind of put all the pressure on him, and he doesn't really get a lot of shots up after he hits that 40-point mark. I mean, at least that's what it's looked like, and I think that a lot of the difference tonight has to do with just having Xavier Moon out there. I'm sure we're going to talk about it for the rest of the season, but just how easy he makes it for everybody else. Teddy benefited so much from it. They both spoke about it so much after the game, and I really think it's the biggest part for the Sea Bears for sure tonight.
So I just brought this on. Sorry, this is John Bahwad. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Anyway, appreciate the comment, John. But he's asking if Hildebrandt will be okay. I wasn't able to get to the post game media availability as I was setting this up. Is there any update on Hildebrandt? Just an update from the game. He did not play today. He was a scratch along with McGowan's because of the import rule. Any updates on Hildebrandt?
Yeah, nothing specifically from Mike after the game, other than just to mention, like, unfortunately, like, to paraphrase, Mike basically said, like, unfortunately he wasn't able to play tonight. I don't think it's anything more than that. I don't think it's. I have no idea kind of what the reasoning for that is, but I don't expect him to miss more than just today's game.
Okay, that's huge. That's because the thing about Simon is his role changes. He's like a kind of the chameleon of this team, right? He comes in someday, like he had that 21-point game a few games ago, but then he'll come in and hit some big shots, get some big defensive stops. He brings some size, so hopefully he'll be back in the lineup soon too. But like clearly tonight they didn't miss him in this game. It's going to be a much harder test coming up on Thursday. But they have a little bit of break here. 3 games at home. It's huge home cooking here for the Sea Bears, and what a way to start it off. When he hit, this is Smirkio again. Smirkio, love your energy on the chats, my guy. Keep it coming. When he hit 43 in the third, I had a feeling Theodore was going to go for 50. We've also affectionately called him Tedward on the Target Score podcast. Also, Cousin Teddy. Shout out Taylor Allen. Cousin Taylor, also known as, and my new name Jimmy because of Taylor Allen calling me Jimmy on a play-by-play broadcast a few games ago. But yeah, I know, honestly, he hit that 43 when he got over the 45. I think it was 46 points. I can't remember now how it all went out. It's kind of all jumbled. There's a lot of points to have in my memory bank, but as soon as target score came in, I said it, and I have to say it as a broadcaster. Like I have to say that the 50 watches on, right? This is what everybody's thinking. And I'm thinking, I hope I didn't broadcast or, jinx this, only because like Teddy Allen in target score time is a time where he's not typically needed. Like at that point, he usually has 30 points, 40 points, like he did this game, right? And you're thinking, well, Xavier Moon had it. Like there was a time, I think it was halftime, Xavier Moon like looked off Teddy. Kind of just like, I got this. And it was like Dave Crook, the color analyst, says, not too often you see Teddy Allen being waved off on the last possession, but like it wasn't, this wasn't like a alpha thing. It was just like, no, like I got this matchup, right? But I'm thinking like, Xavier Moon might go off on this one and get himself up to 20. Isaiah Osborne's always a threat in target score time. You just never know. See their social team, as you said earlier, Deadpool and Wolverine. It's not Batman and Robin. It's Deadpool and Wolverine, though. Hey man, Deadpool's from Regina, so we got to be careful here who we're throwing that out to. But maybe the Deadpool, the current day Deadpool, nice one, Riley. The current day Deadpool lives in Winnipeg, and he was on fire tonight. But no, it's but in that target score time, Vic, there is a good chance that he doesn't score in that because of the attention that he draws, and he was drawing that attention. But what I love to see from the target, I'll start with the target score part. And I said it earlier, was when Isaiah Osborne had the ball and he hadn't had any points yet to this point. He only got the target score winner, and this was for the winner. And he's looking for Teddy. He's trying to find Teddy. They want to get Teddy this moment. They want to get him as many points as he can and get this record to where it can be. And it was just awesome to see the team rally around Teddy as they have all year, but it was just a new level this time. And then it just happened to be Isaiah Osborne, and he took a shot, missed it, and then he had to follow up with that mid-range jump shot to close it. But I just loved how they were looking directly for Teddy to get him involved and to have him, get the target score winner. It was great to see. The other thing I loved was the instant chemistry with Xavier Moon and Teddy Allen. There's one, and, Moon had some nice passes, but there's one, again, Isaiah Osborne didn't pop on the score sheet, but he does so many things so nice that don't pop up on the score sheet. He had a hockey assist in middle of the game, one of the middle quarters, where he gets the ball. He forces the steal in traffic, gets a loop pass just over the defender, over to Teddy on the run. Teddy does the no-look pass to, Moon, who just fills that lane perfectly down the lane or down the wing in transition. No-look pass from Teddy. It was beautiful basketball. And again, he's not played a game with this team. He has been practicing, though. Like that's why it looked so natural so quickly. But again, at game speed, it's just different. And then you have to add the adrenaline from the fans. And they use that in such a positive manner. But, again, if they can keep that ball movement and those assists up, because the other thing, too, as much as I was, trying to, pump the brakes, this is only going to get better in terms of the chemistry as they continue to play together. Smirkio, Theodore's 54 greater than Bam's 83. I'm gonna go ahead and agree with that. Cousin Teddy's 54, and the CBL is I won't get too much into it, but that's an all-time CBL moment. This is the game of the year. I can't see this being eclipsed. I can't think of a game off the top of my head that comes close. It's just the Teddy Allen story from start to where we are now. Like I'm saying, from 2023, like his first two games, he had less than 20 points. I think he had 8 points in one of those games. Like his first two games as Seabear. Remember, there was that little bit of kind of Teddy buckets, where are the buckets? And then he went off and became the MVP. Then the whole thing that happened in 2024, where it seemed like, oh man, why would this all be wasted away? And then last year he takes the year off, comes back, and I've noticed he's a different Teddy. He's a more mature Teddy. He's evolved. He's a more complete player, and I am the first guy to say, I'm plenty on the record talking about even back then, that his defense was underrated. His rebounding has always been strong. It's another level now, and then even his scoring, just when you think it can't get any better, like here he is. But the story behind the Teddy Allen, what this means for the league, is huge.
100%. And first off, those I can definitely say that just based on the post game, the Deadpool and Wolverine nicknames are here to stay for Teddy. And just to be clear for fans who weren't there or haven't seen the clips yet, Teddy Allen is Deadpool, Xavier Moon is Wolverine. That is official. That is something that Winnipeg Seabears fans are going to need to know. They made that very clear. Anyways, but going back to the actual game, man, I just thought it was so huge how guys on this team, where even if shots aren't falling, they're just finding ways to contribute. You talked already about Isaiah Osborne. Guy was 1 for 8, and is it crazy for me to say he was awesome? Like defensively, he was so excellent tonight. He had 5 steals, but it wasn't just that. It was just the way he was just hounding ball handlers, or like guys were trying to post him up and just going nowhere. Couldn't get anything. The guy just did all the little things that it took to win. Jelani Watson-Gale, same way. This is a team where clearly defense has been a huge priority in recruitment, because every single guy on this team can guard. And I think we saw it tonight. It was like, obviously, yeah, Montreal is a little undermanned, but 80 points. And how many of these teams' points even tonight came from offense, or came from defense? Points from turnovers, 33-5 in favor of Winnipeg today. Just unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, running the highlights here. It's like a 5-minute video of 54 points of Teddy Allen. Just, again, phenomenal game from Teddy. Smirkio saying, I thought Miles Powell was going to break the scoring record. And honestly, like, you wouldn't be the only one. Miles Powell's been phenomenal, and he's still very much in the MVP race. But tonight was a night where Teddy Allen said, you know what, man, you're at arm's length. Like, I'm leading this charge. There's no one in the NBA or in the CBL that can guard me right now. And now we just threw in Xavier Moon. It's dangerous from here on in, man. Like this is, again, like I don't expect 54 points a game, but every question I had was answered and then some. And I think we've got the most dangerous duo in the CEBL that we may have ever seen in this league. Again, can't get too excited. There's still 4 games left to finish out. They got a jockey for position, but at the end of the day, we have to, we got to give credit where credit's due. There's a reason for people to be excited.
For sure. Like on paper, really, like they're probably the 2 most accomplished players in the history of this league. I think that's probably fair to say.
100%. Yeah. I don't think
Xavier Moon for sure. Yeah.
They've got, this is 8 years of the league, right? So there hasn't been an MVP awarded this year. We have 4 of the 7 MVPs ever awarded on this team in Winnipeg.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
There's 3 for Xavier Moon, 1 for Teddy Allen, and I would be shocked if, as Smirkio puts it, Teddy the prodigal son doesn't get the MVP this year. I mean, you're going down, and if Teddy does, because here's the thing, I'm kind of worried about Teddy now, not to throw out the scary thing, but is this the last year we see Teddy if he keeps playing like this? If he goes to the NBA on a 10-day or gets those contracts, what I'm getting at is we have to take this in. These moments are fleeting. This is a historic moment. If you were in the building for it, hats off to you. I know some people are tuning in, probably just getting home from the game. If you were there, awesome. It was the most historic moment for the Sea Bears to this point. But I'm just curious now, is he playing himself into a contract that doesn't allow him to be here in the future? So, take it in while it's here, because, this is what happened with Xavier Moon. Played himself into the NBA from the CEBL with the LA Clippers, and now he's playing at the top leagues all over the world. So, you got to sit here now thinking, okay, let's enjoy Teddy while he's here, but this is a real good chance for this team to make real noise. Get that I think it would take a lot for them to lose that first playoff game. If they lost that playoff game, I would be and just based on that first round I'm talking about, right? Like, because it's probably not going to be Vancouver. And you got Edmonton, Saskatoon, or Calgary. Just none of those teams can stack up, I don't think, in the playoffs.
No, I don't think so either. This team, just even if you take off like just the star power, they're so deep. Like when you think about the imagine if Teddy and Xavier Moon both didn't play tonight. And imagine what the lineup looks like. That's a really good team. Like, it's a really good group of guys left. It's special. And to your point about Teddy potentially going to the NBA. Yeah, I mean, like, he's looked like an NBA player for pretty much his whole Sea Bears tenure to me. I think, it's funny. I think how it gets decided who gets a shot over there. You start thinking about, age and, just roles, and, it kind of depends. But as far as like, and being an NBA level player, there's no question about it. That's what we're watching right now for sure.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it would take a miracle for anybody to step in and even come close to that. Just as we're talking here, Vic, I'm going to pull up the standings because they are very likely pulled or updated at this point. So just give me a second here. Bear with me, fans. If you're watching live, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching the replay, I know we get a lot of replay views. Just great to have you along here. and be part of this very historic day. So yeah, we are here. I'm going to just share this screen again. Where are we? Oops, let me get the right screen here.
I gotta say, Joey, while you're pulling that up, Teddy had a really funny answer when I think it was our friend Josh Frey-Sam of the Winnipeg Free Press who asked him, kind of like, have you ever felt like that on a court, like on the court where you're just that hot, you're just like almost unconscious out there? Have you ever felt like that? And he just went, yeah, all the time.
Yo, Josh Frey-Sam, you just got a shout out on Target Score Post Game Live. Here he is for it, man. The legend himself. What's that? For a question that you asked. Oh, yeah. Vic gave you the shout out. I would never do such a thing. See you later, big fella. All right, let's take a look at the standings here before we start wrapping up. Taking a look. Now I lost the page where I can see it. Okay, so we look at the West here. 20 games played. So the Sea Bears have played the most games in the league. Oh, thanks, Ty. This is even easier. So we take a look at this now. It's in Winnipeg's hands at this point. 13 wins, 7 losses. So they're a game and a bit up on Vancouver. Yeah, because there's still half a game. Oh, yeah, because of the 19 games. That makes sense. So half a game up on Vancouver, which makes that Thursday game. They do play Tuesday, Vancouver. So this could be a totally different scenario, right? If they win that next game, their winning percentage will be better. So there's a chance, this sounds a little weird to say, Winnipeg could be playing for first place, not in first place, come Thursday, depending on how that matchup goes with Vancouver on Tuesday. But right now they're in first, and they hold the tiebreaker with Vancouver. But then you got the Mamba at 8-10, Edmonton at 8-11, and the don't look now Calgary Surge. I still don't think there's enough time for them to get it done, but they very well might. And if you're playing them in the first round, what's that?
Especially with their loss today as well. They picked up an L2.
Yeah, and
that's going to be tough for them.
Yeah. Oh, they got smoked by Saskatoon. I'll bring up the out of town scoreboard here while we're talking there. But yeah, they got smoked by Saskatoon. So that's huge for the Mamba actually. Here, we're going to share this tab. So here's the 109-80. Calgary loses at home. Fine. That snaps a 4-game win streak for Calgary. They lose 116 to 99 to the Mamba. So the Mamba return home on Tuesday to play Edmonton. That is another massive game. And Calgary, can they do it again? They just beat Vancouver twice in a row. I'd be shocked if they did it for a third straight game, but that would be a huge favor for Winnipeg. And then that would take us into, there's that Blackjack Scarborough. I'm looking forward to that. If you guys are CBL fans, watch this game. There was a lot of fireworks in Scarborough, and then this is the second part of a back-to-back in Ottawa. And then that takes us to Thursday, where we've got Vancouver in town, and then before we get into next week, that'll be the Saturday game, the national game. So all eyes will be on Winnipeg, and after tonight, that's going to be a nicely rated game for CBC, I tell you what. But this is quite a road here for Winnipeg. 3 home games at a great time. If they can get another win on the road or two, that'd be nice if they can win that one in Vancouver. But it's this is a very promising game for Winnipeg. Here, we'll just bring up Teddy. Sorry. Oh, I wanted to bring this up. Sorry, Smirky. I got sidetracked. The answer to, does Joey have the stat on who was guarding Teddy most of the game? The answer is the whole team, and it didn't work. It wasn't really down to one guy. There was a lot of switches.
Does not want us to mention who it was on the show.
Yeah, Kevin Osawe got a lot of FaceTime with Teddy Allen in this game, but they were getting a lot of switches on that, and they were using that pick and roll with Jeremiah Tillman Jr. There was some good mismatches in this game. Things were just going really well for Winnipeg. They had the advantage. They took total care of it. Didn't play with their. Could have got things done a little quicker in target score time. I was getting a little frustrated as a play-by-play guy because with target score time, there's always a game winner. So like in the NBA, for instance, or college basketball, it was 6 minutes and 27 seconds was the duration of target score time, which is kind of long. Yeah. So what I'm getting at is in the NBA, like the clock is winding down. So you're about to hit that post of like, here's the last play. Man, we had that, like the build up to, I don't know how many finishers that never came to fruition. I was like, come on, just somebody put it away at this point. But everybody was on Teddy. Osawe was the guy that was assigned to him there towards the end. And it just, there was no one to stop Teddy tonight. Where was the Tyler one I just want to bring up? Teddy's 54, also a CBL career high, 21 field goals made, ties his career high with 9 for 14 from 3-point range. And to your point, Vic, 1 3-pointer away from that CBL record there too, which just would have been stupid, really, like dumb.
Oh, no.
He got that. I have no other way of putting that.
Absolutely here, and just a final note, because my phone is about to die here, and I did not bring a charger, so I'm running low. So I do want to just quickly mention, just to show how special this game was. And obviously, I'm probably a bigger Winnipeg sports nerd than most, but I got everything. I got the stat sheet, I got the media kit, I got the record book. I grabbed everything I could possibly grab from the area around me to remember this night, because I have a copy of the final CBL media kit that will ever say the CBL record for points in a game is Jalen Harris with 45, and I am pretty happy about that. I will cherish all this stuff, and what a special night in Winnipeg.
You know what? I'm pissed because I ripped the page out of the media kit because I needed the pronouncer because I kept screwing up. What was it? Blondo Chukun. See, I messed it up already. Where's my pronouncer? Like I was, yeah.
It's a tough one. He's a dog, though, but...
And I had to pull it out to double check. I was so rattled by it because now but anyway, Chukwuenyo, great basketball player, and I always feel so bad. Like that is like the cardinal sin for me. But anyway, I did clarify. All worked out. Yeah, just last one here from Smirky. I wanted to chirp whoever guarded Teddy, but didn't know who to chirp. That's awesome. All right, man. Yeah, this has been fun. Really appreciate you coming on as always, Vic. We're gonna do it again on. Try to do it again on Thursday. Definitely going to have a pregame show on that one as well. That'll be a normal time. I think it's a 7:00 start for that one.
I think so,
if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is a credible night here for the Winnipeg Sea Bears. Not only did they get the big win, but I lost 109-80 over the Montreal Lions, 54 points in a game that saw Xavier Moon get 14 assists, 17 points in his debut. Teddy Allen takes the show. Teddy Buckets forever. They'll never lose that moniker after this game. A record 54 points. It has never been done before. It may never be done again. If you were in the building, happy for you. And they have to do it all again on Thursday when the Vancouver Bandits are in town. A very, very big game when the Bandits are in town. And looking forward to that one. Vic, appreciate you coming on here and doing this. We're going to do it again, so don't get too comfortable. Live. If you're a Sea Bears fan, we will see you again on Thursday.